Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. But right now, I'm still teaching Zettelkasten. And we have been working through Mortimer Adler's book, How to Read a Book. And specifically, we've been talking about inspectional reading, the whole pre-reading phase before we dive into analytical reading, which is what we're going to tackle in the next section. So this is kind of a summary where he just kind of puts the icing on the cake for the whole part of inspectional reading. So it's not going to be super long tonight, but I have some cards to share with you and some concluding remarks. So let's go over to the down-facing camera and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, here we are in Adler's book. We're going to be covering pages 52 through 55, which will bring us to the end of the section on inspectional reading. And the first part about it is where he's talking about forming the habit of reading. For my own personal use, I had already created this card, which is a listing of the 4 questions that you're supposed to keep in mind if you want to be a demanding reader. And it's rather interesting because in forming the habit of reading, that's one of the points that he's making, is that you want to keep the methods in front of you. So with that advice in place, I also made a card for steps in pre-reading and inspectional reading. You remember, I hope, that we went through 6 different steps in pre-reading a book, and then we read straight through and did an inspectional reading of the book. And that was the mechanism that we used in our inspectional reading as a total topic. So I captured each of those, and I also captured in a different color of ink the reason why we do these different steps. These cards are not meant to go into my Zettelkasten. They're made on sturdier material than my normal index cards, and it's my intention to have them around so that I can remember what the steps are while I'm forming the habit of following them. It's especially enlightening the topic that he uses to close the chapter, From Many Rules to One Habit. He makes an extended point using skiing as an example, where to learn to ski, there are so many different rules that you have to learn to follow, and yet once you're skiing, you're not thinking about those rules at all. And so he made a very clear point where he said, and I've quoted him here, that's why it's written in blue, the multiplicity of rules indicates the complexity of the one habit, not a plurality of distinct habits. And so that's something that I think would really be interesting. My dream in doing this is to actually become able to absorb a number of books and other articles, especially in my area of interest and in tangential areas to my area of interest. And I'd like to be able to do it efficiently to enable me to consume a wider range of materials and thus be able to explore more ideas. And therefore, I'm really serious about absorbing these rules and about making Adler's suggestions into my own personal habit. So I hope you enjoyed this light episode, which kind of ties a bow on the whole concept of inspectional reading and pre-reading. And we will continue the Adler series with analytical reading, but I'm going to take a break and cover some additional topics. The reason is that some of my viewers have questions, and I would like to go ahead and address those issues before I pick up again with the Adler series. So join me in a couple of interesting topics that we'll go into in the coming few lessons. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.